Imagine yourself sitting on a plane and you happen to look up and see a woman boarding the plane, and well, she's dressed like an elf. And you wonder, what? Welcome to the Rowan's podcast. I am the Rowan. Sit back, grab yourself a cup of coffee, and I'll tell you a story about how I ended up dressed as an elf on an airplane leaving Ohio. Well, I had went on a trip to go see my daughter, and I was quite a bit afraid to get on a plane because I hadn't been on one in like 30 years. And I will say the flights out were scary, but I handled them okay. But on the way back, I knew I'd be, kind of nervous again. So I thought I would have a little fun and I'd make an adventure out of the trip. Here's my autism part, just the tism attacks there. And I thought, you know what would be really fun is if I just dressed up in costume and took a plane back home. So I had some extra spending money from my trip, and I had ordered some items from Amazon. My daughter introduced me to the joys of ordering from Amazon and be able to get it delivered right to the front door within a day or two from where she was living. And so I kind of got hooked on that. And I thought, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna buy a costume, some stuff, and I'll make an adventure out of it. And the thing is my two younger boys, well, they're adults now, but we used to play Dungeons and Dragons together, and so adventures, and doing our adventure movies and things like that, so it kind of into that, and I knew that my youngest son would be coming with my husband to pick me up, and he would have been about 17 at that time, and I thought, it'd be kind of cool if I got off the plane all dressed up as like an elf or as an adventurer, and I thought he'd probably think it was pretty cool. So with that in mind, I bought like I bought a cowl, a green cowl. It's like a long hooded scarf that I could wrap around my shoulders, and then the hood was kind of like a oversized hood. And I bought some sparkly gold or green sparkly tiny butterfly barrettes to put in my hair, and it was like a gold and jeweled leaves and jeweled leaves kind of strand that went in my hair. So when I put it in my hair, it kind of looked like almost like a crown type of thing. And I bought a corset type belt, brown, and I bought a drop leg bag, a leather drop leg bag. And if you don't know what that is, it goes around like a belt, but then the actual pouch kind of drops down onto your thigh. And then there's like a little tiny belt that wraps around your thigh too to keep it in place. So I bought that so I could put my phone and whatnot in. And and I also bought ear cuffs for my ears. They look like little like butterflies, and they were kind of pointy, so they almost look like I had like sparkly elf ears, kind of. So the day I left, I got all dressed up. I had like a black long sleeve black shirt on, and I wore the belt over that, and then the cowl was green. with green sparkly hair stuff, and I have like curly-ish white hair, and I had the black streak in my hair, so I braided the black streak with some of the white strands so it looked like a black and white braid. And then I had the butterflies down the braid, and then I had the little jeweled thing in my hair. So and then I also carried in a little velvet pouch some stones that I'd gotten at a rock shop. They were sparkly and stuff. So so I was all dressed up as an elf. And my daughter thought it was really cool because she used to be into cosplay and stuff like that. And she used to have her own little cosplay business for a little while, making cosplay costumes and stuff. So, I got her approval, of course, before I left. And it was fun. And so I got dropped off at the airport, went through security. That is a whole nother episode, security. Oh my gosh. That's a whole nother episode. It had nothing to do with my actual costume, but I will say this. Oh, and I had like my boots on. I had zip up boots that went to my calves, so calf high boots. So I had those also. Yeah, the security, that's got to be a different podcast. And like I said, it had nothing to do with the costume, but having to take off everything pretty much and having to, I mean, it was a process getting through. But anyways, so going through the airport, I got a lot of looks, of course. Not all of them like strange and weird looks, but just kind of like, kind of looking and see, whatever. And I did get a few compliments. I got one lady complimented me in the bathroom how she liked my style. And I had someone ask me if I was going to Comic-Con, or if I was going to like any kind of a festival or anything like that. And I said no. And then I had someone else kind of track me down and wanted to know about the bag, the drop leg bag I had, and wanted to know if it was my spell pouch and if I carried a spell book in it. And I said no, and wanted to know where I got it, what it was called, and so Amazon told them what it was called and everything. So that was fun. Oh yeah, and someone asked me if I was going to a convention, and it was kind of fun. It made the journey, a lot more fun, because then I didn't really focus on, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Is the plane going to fall out of the sky or something? Those thoughts that you get in your head. I could just be in character and be a little elf adventuring, and I made up a little story too about who I was and what I was doing and stuff, just in case some child or something asked me, because on the way out I had a little girl that was talking to me. I was on my way to my daughter's house, and she talked to me in the airport for a while, and so I thought, well, on the way back when I was all dressed up, I thought I'd make up some sort of, story. So the story I had was that I was on a mission from the Elf Queen to go explore distant lands, and that I was bringing back those rocks that I had in my pouch that were like special, rocks that I was bringing back to the queen and her son, and for some reason or another, they had to be brought back. And I was waiting. I was really hoping that there would be like some child that would want to talk to me, and then I could show them the little rocks, and all kids like rocks and stuff. And I even had an extra one that I could just like give to the kid if one of them asked me or whatever, and they were like, ooh, nice rocks. So I had all that prepared. I never did get the chance though, because there weren't any children around that day. But it was fun. It was really fun. And my son was kind of surprised to see me all dressed up like that. It's a little adventure getting off the plane. But I did, I have mentioned in my first episode that I have a unique sense of style, and I do wear different clothes. And I do admit I do wear my corset belt sometimes to work. Well, I bought 2 different ones. One a little bit more risque, and then one I could just wear. And I bought that, and I do wear that one to work sometimes. And the cowl, the green one I did wear to work every now and then. But I liked it so much, I got a black one. And I wear the black one to work because we have to wear black at work. And like I said, it's just like a big scarf that can be wrapped around a couple times and hung over the shoulders, and then it's like a oversized hood on it. And it's surprisingly warm. It's really thin, but it's surprisingly warm. And so now that it's winter, I do wear it at work. And for Halloween, my boss said, because he didn't schedule me for Halloween to work the year before, and then I complained about it, he said this year I could dress up the entire week before Halloween. So the entire week before Halloween, I wore some sort of version of that costume or something. I was an elf, I was a pirate, I was, whatever, all week long. And at the end of the week, I had an actual Lord of the Rings elf costume that I wore. But back to the trip. Yeah, it was really fun. It was fun. And I really recommend to anybody, if you're going on a trip and you're nervous to get on a plane or something, dress up, wear a costume. One of my friends, she was going overseas, and normally she goes often, and normally she's really fine with the airplanes. But this last time she was a little nervous about it, and I told her my story, and I said, just wear a costume. Just wear a costume. And she kind of laughed at me, but I'm like, I'm telling you, it is fun, and it's freeing too, to just kind of dress up and be someone else for a little while, and then maybe you can suspend some of your fears that way. I know that helped me. I wasn't as scared riding the plane because I was walking around as an elf. That would be the autism in me. I had fun. It makes me almost want to go on another plane trip again. Just so I can dress back up. But it was fun. And like I said, I do wear the cowl. So I wear the cowl to like Walmart. Sometimes I'll wear both the cowl and the corset belt with whatever I can find, and I get comments. But it's fun, and my husband doesn't seem to mind. He said he's kind of gotten used to my strange sense of style, and he actually kind of likes it sometimes. So, but yeah, just I highly recommend dressing up in a costume. I was very tempted to get one of those dinosaur blow-up costumes and get off the plane with that, but I fear that's been so overdone. Plus, it would have been more expensive than the things that I got, but yeah. So that is my story. That is how I wound up on a plane wearing an elf costume, headed back home for my daughters. That was fun. Thank you for listening to my random rambling about my story. Have a nice day. More later.